honestly, I really don't know where to begin this week. There is a lot to break down. We just made it through the divisional round and are now on our way to championship weekend, so there is a lot to unpack there. And on top of that, we have injuries and hirings and firings and retiring'S. I didn't think that was gonna flow that well, but I really like that. I did a good job with that one. I guess we're gonna start where I wanna start because I have that power, so I am going to utilize it. I'm in a sassy mood today. It must be the way I curled my hair or something. I don't know. Divisional round. The Packers, Bucks, Chiefs, and Bills kept their Super Bowl dreams alive, while the Rams, Saints, Browns, and Ravens were sent packing. To say the least, this weekend was kind of uneventful, based solely on the fact that every team that you thought was going to win won. The teams that I thought honestly had a chance to come in and switch up the narrative a little bit were the Saints and the Ravens, but that just did not happen. What did happen, though, were some pretty unfortunate injuries that honestly just make my heart really, really sad. On the final play of the third quarter in the Ravens-Bills game, we saw reigning MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson go down with what we later learned was a concussion, and he did not come back in for the rest of the game. This absolutely crushed my soul because we all know he is one of my all-time favorite players in the league at the moment. Obviously, that's because of his talent, but like his heart, his soul, his personality definitely sneak him up to the top of the list. I actually have a list, a bucket list, you could say, of people that I want to hug in my lifetime, like straight up, just bear hug, hold on, just cherish that moment for dear life. And Lamar Jackson is in my top 3. I never want to see anyone hurt, but I genuinely ache to see him hurt. Unfortunately, though, even before his injury, the Ravens as a whole just didn't even seem to show up. I thought this was going to be a crazy offensive, high-scoring, wow moment every 2 seconds kind of game from both sides. And it was so boring. I felt like I was watching the Rams. Once the Ravens got behind, I kind of just knew it was over for them. But then when Lamar went down, it was like, I don't know why my brain just went to say needle in a haystack because that's so wrong. Why can't I think of the actual saying? My mother, my entire life, has spoken to me in phrases, and I remember when I was young, I never knew what she was saying, and I thought it was so bizarre, and now I use them all of the time. Nail in the coffin! When Lamar got hurt, it was the nail in the coffin, which just stinks, because think about how much they overcame and how much it took just for them to get to this point this season. I said in one of my first videos, it might have actually been my first video, that I would be disappointed if I did not see this team in the Super Bowl. I was so excited to just watch them this season, and midway through, things got very, very, very rough for them, to say the least. They were third in their division. They were not even in the playoff picture. They had COVID outbreaks and injuries. At one point, this team was 6-5, and then they won out, ended up being 11-5. Lamar got his first playoff win against the team that upset them last season. And let's be real, if I was a professional football player and I was to get knocked out in the playoffs by any team, I would want it to be the Bills or the Chiefs. I'd be like, yep, that's fair. So for the Ravens, I know that it probably hurts a lot right now, but just look at how much you overcame to get here. I would not look at the season as a failure, not even in the slightest. You could be the Eagles. They have such a bright future ahead, and if I was any team next season, I would be absolutely terrified of them. They have also made a lot of interesting roster moves that I will talk about later on in this episode, so make sure to stick around for that. I don't want to get too sidetracked considering I'm already on an extensive Ravens rant. That would be a good podcast name. So we saw the reigning league MVP go down with a concussion, but then we also saw the reigning Super Bowl MVP, who was the league MVP the season prior, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, also go down with a concussion, which also happened in the third quarter. Strange. Weird. Mahomes had literally not played for 3 weeks before that game, and you would not have been able to tell in the slightest. Early on, we did see him hurt his toe a little bit. He did seem to be hobbling, but last season, I watched that man's kneecap pop out of place, and then he played 3 weeks later, so I knew a little turf toe really wasn't going to affect him that bad. He completed 21 of 30 passes for 255 yards and a touchdown, and he ran for a touchdown. That was absolutely remarkable because he is Patrick Mahomes, and this is just what he does. Now, both of these young star quarterbacks getting concussions is obviously upsetting, but for Patrick Mahomes, there are some larger implications because the Chiefs ended up winning that game, even though they did almost blow a 19-3 lead. Chad Henne came in for Patrick Mahomes, and he literally proved that anything is possible. The Browns absolutely had a chance to win this game. Personally, I honestly think it was coaching that lost it for them here. They were wasting timeouts as if they weren't going to need them, but mainly it was their defense. On a 3rd and 14, that if Henne got the first down would have literally ended the game right then and there. They just let him run. It was like Patrick Mahomes' soul lifted out of his body and went into Henne's, and he was like, listen, you can do this. Honestly, the first time I really thought he had it, I was just watching it and I was just like, but after review, it was short. So now we're at 4th and inches. The Browns defense has struggled on 4th downs all season, so I'm sitting there like, what the frick is going to happen right now? And I should have expected it because it is the Chiefs, but I just didn't. My mind wasn't there. Andy Reid put all of his faith into his backup quarterback, and on a 4th and inches with their season on the line, from the way they were standing, I honestly didn't even think they were going to run a play. Unlike the Browns, they still had timeouts left. I thought they were going to try and pull one of the Browns defenders off sides, or maybe just wait and call a timeout. But no, this is the Chiefs. Henne, their backup quarterback, threw the ball on a 4th and inches to Hill, and Hill got the first down that ended the game. I actually don't know why I'm shocked. They have literally done this exact play when they were in a tight game against the Dolphins in week 13. But when there is so much to lose, the Browns would have had 1 minute on the clock. It was just unbelievable. Now the Chiefs will be playing in their 3rd straight AFC Championship game this upcoming weekend against the Bills. And the big question now is, will Patrick Mahomes be able to play? As of this exact moment on Wednesday evening, this is still entirely up in the air. Brett Favre spoke out and warned him to be careful with handling this situation because his long-term health is on the line here. In the last update that I saw, he cleared major steps in concussion protocol, but hasn't been officially released yet. But he did participate in a light practice today, which was Wednesday morning. This is major news, so I will be updating my Sporty Jordy Instagram account with updates regarding his status for Sunday's game. So if you want to check that out, you can find me at the Sporty Jordy. If Mahomes is able to play this weekend, we are going to be witnessing something really freaking cool. In the AFC, we would have a showdown between the Young Bucks, the upcoming greats in Mahomes and Allen, while in the NFC, we have the battle of the old, I guess that's mean. I guess I can't really say that. The battle of the veteran GOATs going head-to-head with Brady and Rodgers. It's all pretty Shakespearean, if you ask me. Either way, our Super Bowl is going to be the past versus the future, and I am very excited about that. That is something I can get behind. This weekend, the Packers took down the Rams 32-18, and Aaron Rodgers being up against one of the best defenses in the entire league was smiling. This man showed zero fear. If he looked at me like that, well, I would probably melt. But if I was a defender, I would straight up be like, oh, And we also saw Brady and BREES play each other for the third time this season, and I hate to even say it, but realistically, it probably was the last time ever. BREES had the honor of sweeping Tom Brady in a division for the first time ever in his career this past regular season, but unfortunately, he couldn't make it happen for a third straight game. This game was very back and forth for a long time. I thought it was going to be one of those situations where it literally went back and forth, and the winner came down to literally whoever had the lead in the fourth when the clock struck 0. But the Bucks defense stepped up huge with back-to-back interceptions, and honestly, Tom Brady looked like he was 25 years old. And they just ran with it and ended up on top 30-20, and now Tom Brady has another first under his belt as he is playing in his first ever NFC Championship game. What? And if you sit here and tell me that you are a football fan and you did not get emotional watching Drew Brees turn around and take one last look at the Superdome before running into the tunnel, then you are actually just not a football fan at all. According to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, that was Drew Brees' last game in the NFL, and he will be retiring after this season. Drew Brees himself has not issued a statement about this yet. However, this is something that has been circling for a little while now. Even at the end of last season, there were rumors that he might not come back. And I don't know why. There's just something in the air this time that makes it feel real. This is especially weird for me because there has been no point in my life where I have ever watched football to the point where I could understand what was actually going on without Brees or Brady. I don't want to age anyone here, but I was 3 years old when Drew Brees entered the league. So this is like really, really sad because it feels like part of my childhood is ending, and this could not be a more perfect segue. Philip Rivers came out Wednesday morning, January 20th, and announced that after 17 years in the league, number 17 is officially retiring. Dadgummit, this is sad. I didn't think this one would actually make me sad, but it is sad. If you haven't already read the statement that he made to ESPN about his retirement, I am going to include a link to that in my description just because it is everything that you would expect it to be, and my heart was just so full reading it. I think everybody should. The sentiment too of making the announcement on that specific day is so touching because it's the anniversary of the AFC Championship game that he played without an ACL. Philip Rivers, you have had an incredible career, and I am going to miss your trash talking very, very much. So this season hasn't even come to an end yet, and Philip Rivers has already officially retired. And now we are eagerly awaiting a statement from Drew Brees to see if this really was the last time that we'll ever see him play. And I did mention that the Ravens have made some interesting roster moves since their loss to the Bills, so let's take a look at that a little bit. They have waived the 2011 Heisman Trophy winner, a first-round draft pick quarterback RG3 after 3 seasons with the team. And they have released veteran running back who also won the Heisman Trophy, Mark Ingram, after 2 seasons. The RG3 move, I really don't understand that much. I think he's really good depth for them to have. I love the plays where they would utilize him and Lamar Jackson at the same time. But Mark Ingram, as much as this makes my heart twinge, just because of the good energy that he brings to this team, I completely understand this from a business perspective. He wasn't performing in the way that they needed him to. They did what they had to do. According to Adam Schefter, this move saves the organization $5 million in 2021 cap space, and it allows Mark Ingram to get an early jumpstart in free agency. Let me know in the comments down below where you think he could potentially end up. I kind of have some ideas. And another major headline that is taking up majority of my attention right now, Deshaun Watson. Literally the only reason I had any respect for the Texans was because of Watson, JJ Watt, and DeAndre Hopkins. And we all know I could make a 30-minute video about how absolutely ridiculous the DeAndre Hopkins trade was, but I still had some love for this team because Deshaun Watson and JJ Watt were still there. None of that was their fault. However, that little bit of love that I still had is now gone. Even now, with Bill O'Brien gone, this organization does nothing but infuriate me, and I want Watson out. And Watson wants Watson out. It kind of feels like we're in the NBA right now with all of this drama. Watson was literally liking tweets on Twitter of him in other teams' jerseys. He was photographed in New York City wearing a Falcons jacket. At one point, he was not even answering calls from the Texans organization. Like, this is getting pretty legit. There is absolutely some bad blood there. Worked into his contract is a no trade clause, so he cannot end up on a team that he doesn't want to be on. And the Texans are still saying that he isn't going anywhere, even though they have done absolutely nothing to make him feel respected there. Weird. There are only a couple of teams that could actually give up enough to acquire him, and the most obvious, the Dolphins. A package deal that Miami could put together in order to get him could include the 3rd overall pick, which they actually got from the Texans in another trade deal, but that's beside the point, along with the 18th overall pick in this year's draft, a first-round draft pick for the 2022 draft, and obviously rookie quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. I am not going to lie to you. I honestly like this scenario a lot. There are a couple of other teams in the mix of this conversation as well, such as the Jets, Panthers, Falcons, 49ers, Patriots, and the Bears. However, I don't want to go into too much detail about this until there is some more concrete evidence that there's actually something in the works or conversations being had. Because let's face it, while I wish more than anything that I could go to Houston, steal Deshaun Watson and drop him at whatever team he wanted to be on, I am still pretty convinced that for the 2021 season, he is still going to be on the Texans. If he is not, though, I'm saying it right here and right now that I will immediately go out and buy his jersey for whatever team he ends up on. I don't care as long as it's not in Houston. Like this video if you think I should do a Watson trade tracker, or if you just think my personality is absolutely adorable. I know. There are so many coaching situations to talk about, especially since my team just fired our head coach, and now we are one of only 2 organizations left with a head coach vacancy. But I am thinking about doing an entire video just on that. That might happen to come out later this week. As always, make sure to go check out my socials. I always include that information in the description down below. So that way, if there's anything that you wanted me to talk about that I didn't talk about, you can always reach out to me personally. I appreciate all of you so much. Make sure to go subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And let's get ready for championship weekend.